While we're on the topic of Nolan Wells, we are going to watch another interview. I'm gonna get my notes. I might just use this piece of paper right here. That Brandon Tatum did with.
Did you have anything to do with Nolan's death?
No.
Do you have personal?
This is with Tracestin Shepherd. This is a one part, 45 minutes and 32 seconds. We are going to watch this in real time. Okay? Trey. It is important to note that when Warren came in and interviewed with Tatum, that he said he was interviewing with Tatum because they all watch his show. They love that he loves the Lord. And they think he does a really good job. So they have trust with him. And that he was one of the ones that gave the boys a chance to tell their story and was on the boys' side. So the boys, I'm guessing, are comfortable sitting with Brandon Tatum and giving a public statement, because this is a public statement, and whatever you say will and could be used against you in the court of law. So let's get right into this interview. It's a 45-minute interview. And this is our live reaction on the Overly Invested podcast.
Personal knowledge of someone directly in your friend group having anything to do with Nolan's death?
No, not at all.
So I saw you on television, you had an interview, and I felt like you laid out a few things that I think the world needs to know and be clear about.
Okay.
And the first one is the relationship that you had with Nolan. Can you explain your relationship with Nolan?
Yeah, I will. So his mom got on TV, as everybody has seen, and said that she didn't know me. And man, that can't be farther from the truth. Me and Nolan, I met Nolan in 9th grade in a second block class. It was math. He was one of the first guys I made friends with. It was somebody I made a connection to. Like off rep, he was an athlete. I could tell he was an athlete when I walked into class. We sat really close to each other, and all he did, he turned around and asked me for a pencil when I first met him in 9th grade when I moved to Ocean Springs. Man, it was tough, and the relationship there has always been best friend in my eyes. I never wanted to take away how close somebody else was with Nolan, but Nolan was my best friend. That was a guy I knew I could call at any point in time. He called me at 11 o'clock on the 4th to see where I was parked at. Man, me and Nolan have countless nights of him giving me advice on my girlfriend, on my life in general. Nolan has been
11 o'clock on the 4th. Nolan text Trace about whereabouts.
the only friend, and I love my friends and my best friend in this group of guys, but Nolan has been the only person that ever tell me like he's proud of what I've done. He's proud of.
Let me get a timestamp for that. 1:50.
How hard I worked. He's proud of me going overseas to go play ball. That was my guy. Like, that was my best friend.
Yeah, and so how does it make you feel when the media activists are coming out and alluding to the fact that you may have something to do with what happened to Nolan on that day?
Man, that hurts. It hurts is an understatement. I beat myself up every night I lay down. Beat myself up anytime it crosses my mind. Because in my head, if I wasn't drinking, if I didn't get into that altercation, maybe I would be able to do something. Maybe.
Okay. So Trace was drinking, and he is actually and got into altercation.
Maybe I would have saw something. Maybe I would have told Nolan, hey, man, you're not going with that girl. Just come back with us. We're going back a little bit later. We can go meet up with the guys later. Maybe it just plays out different. And then the fact that they're going to play that is I'm already trying to mourn my friend's death as is, and I'm blaming myself for it. To put that in my head is a next level of hurt that can't be truly explained. Because it's hard to put into words. Generally, it's backstabbing from a sense of a community that I thought I had with my skin color, and they stay so strong together, and I'm supposed to be one of them, but I come up and I speak, and now I'm the person to blame. Now I'm not dark enough for them. I'm not black enough for them, and now I'm the issue. It doesn't make sense.
What? Are you suggesting that just because you are mixed and you're mixed with black, that the black people are just going to not question you and the validity of what you're saying? This is the thing. Y'all talk about I'm not bringing the black community. A lot of people. I'm not, because I heard Pastor Jamal Brown. I'm not in the business on black crime. No, I'm in the business of getting down to the motherfucking business. Whether you black, white, purple, green, blue, you was on that boat, and we want to know what happens. People are speculating. That's what people do. Unfortunately, that's what people do until they have the facts. Now, if you speculate after you have the facts, then you have like a mental issue going on there. We don't have the facts of the case, and you were one of the friends, and we are speculating. We are trying to understand. We are trying to figure out what happened to Nolan Wells.
In my head, it doesn't make sense.
Was Nolan? I mean, obviously you were in a friend group, but the way the media makes it seem is that almost as if Nolan was the only black person in this whole friend group. Now they don't even mention you. They don't bring you up in this whole thing when it comes to what happened at Horn Island. So what's your take on Nolan being presented as like the only black kid in a group of all these white boys?
That's crazy, man. I know we've spoken a little bit, but that friend group that I'm a part of to this day was the first friend group I was in when I moved to Ocean Springs as a new kid coming in. I never knew any of them. I'd known one, kind of, sort of, back from grade school because we went to the same private school together. But that was it. And him being the only black person, minority, any of that measure is insane. Our friend group is diverse from the max. Like, we have a mixed guy. I mean, we had Nolan in our friend group. There's an Asian a part of our friend group. There's a Latino that they're trying to perceive as white. He's truly authentic Mexican. His parents are from Mexico. They came over legally and they did everything right, and he's been here since. It blows my mind because our friend group is not a friend group that sees race. Our friend group sees what good you do for other people, what good you bring, and how the type of person you truly are and where your morals lie. That's one thing in common. Me and my friends might not agree on everything, but our morals align. Our morals know. So for them to even make that narrative up really shows you have no idea what it's like down here on the coast. You have no idea how tight-knit Ocean Springs as a community is. You don't understand it. You don't see the thousands of kids in the high school football stands cheering their team on. Nobody cares what color you are. We're there to have fun and to just live. And that's how Nolan lived. That's how I live now. I've grown up and I have more big boy stuff, but in high school, all I cared about was going to hang out with my guys. And I mean, on a personal level that leads off of it, is like, it got me in trouble with my girlfriend just because I wanted to be with the guys. I never once thought, man, they look at me different. Man, I'm kind of an outcast to them. No. All their moms have always welcomed me with open arms. Anytime I needed anything, I knew I could call them and their parents, and they would do anything in the world for me. So with Crump pushing this narrative, it's wrong.
Yeah,
it's completely wrong, especially about our friend group.
Yeah, I find it, especially after talking to you, meeting some of the guys, that it seems like there was an agenda. But can you walk us through just your perspective from that day? I don't know if did you go with them initially? Were you a part of the group that went to Horn Island?
So I wasn't, no, clear that up. No, I was not on the boat with them. Yes, I was a part of the group that was supposed to go out. So the only reason why I did not go on the boat is I got begged to go, but my uncle, we also took 12 people out on our boat, not including us two, so 14. And my uncle knows the passengers wouldn't have helped. Generally wouldn't have helped with anything. With that many people on a boat, you need a little bit of help. So my uncle was like, hey, can you just ride out with me and you can go do your thing throughout the day on the island? I don't care. I don't need you. I just need help to get out there and then pick everything up. Because I know.
Okay, so Trace went with Uncle. 14 people, including them too.
All these people are going to be
Who is
drunk
his
and they're not
uncle?
going to want to do the extras that nobody sees about going out on the boat, right? And so I told Wyatt that, and oops, my bad. But I told him.
It's good.
I told him that, and I told him everything, which was go to plan. We were leaving a little bit earlier than them. I was gonna try to have a spot saved out, and Nolan calls me at 11 o'clock. I missed his phone call. Called me twice. I missed both of them. I saw Wyatt and Nolan on the boat. They pulled right in front of our boat, and they were screaming. I turned my head and I was like, "Yo, there's a spot over there." Where they end up anchoring out. I helped them set their stern anchor. From the time they showed up,
they got there first
until now, going back to it, 20 minutes before they left, I was with them. That's who I was with. I spent all day with them, minus the morning time before they got out there. But from the time they got out there to the time they went back in, I was with them. Those are my friends, man. Those are my guys.
Yeah, I want to get a few more details.
I'm sorry about that.
I know that. Yeah, go ahead. I know that you were all over the news because there was a perceived fight. People, this is the thing that gets me, and I want to you clarify this. When I saw the video that they put out on the internet claiming that Nolan was saying, "Give me my effing phone back," Nolan's coach came out and said immediately he knew it wasn't Nolan's voice. And obviously it wasn't Nolan's voice because you were the one that was
me yelling,
in there yelling. You got into an altercation with somebody. What happened after that? Like, put me in your place where the fight is over, whatever happened. Nolan is somewhere, you're somewhere, you're hanging out. And when was the last time that you saw Nolan before you left Horn Island?
So after the fight, I didn't stay on Horror Island much longer. So the objective, so I was really upset. So with you hearing me yelling, my uncle had told me to get on the boat and wouldn't let me back off the boat. Obviously, I was really mad and I wanted to fight, wanted to get up. What wasn't smart, man. Mm-hmm. And so I was on the boat, I'm yelling, and shortly after that, I left the island. I left probably 30 to 45 minutes after I got into a fight. We started to pack up and left because I was so upset. As Javon mentions, that they were ready to get me back to land because I was really mad. I was genuinely really mad. But the last time I saw Nolan, I was walking to the boat. This was before the fight. It's me and my old lady. We had just got out of a group of people. Nolan was walking.
So we got in a fight. And him and his uncle had to leave. The island. And him and his old what? His old lady.
On the boat, I'm yelling. And shortly after that, I left the island. I left probably 30 to 45 minutes after I got into a fight. We started to pack up and left because I was so upset. As Javon mentions, that they were ready to get me back to land because I was really mad. I was genuinely really mad. But the last time I saw Nolan, I was walking to the boat. This was before the fight. It's me and my old lady. We had just got out of a group of people. Nolan was walking towards Wyatt's boat. I was walking in the opposite direction towards my boat. And I dabbed Nolan up. I made a slick comment about something, actually about the girl that he was with. I made a slick comment to him, us joking around, and I kept going. And not even 10 minutes after that is when I got into a fight. The last thing I told Nolan was, all right, buddy, I love you. See you later. And I'm glad I said it. I had been under the influence a little bit, and that's probably why I did say it at the time, just, getting all lovey-dovey, but I'm at peace I said it. I'm glad I said it. That was my last encounter with Nolan. I was telling him I love him.
Did you have any, so you leave the island, did you have any encounters or association with these phones, with the keys? Did you have any connection to any of that?
I did not. So what I know, Warren started, I got my first phone call from Warren at about 9:20. I didn't answer it. I was asleep. I'd been on the boat all day. I didn't feel like going to party anymore. I went to bed. So I got my first phone call about 9:20. And I didn't wake up again until a little after 11 o'clock. And that was to my brother coming in the room being like, hey, Warren's trying to get a hold of you. You need to answer the phone. They're looking for Nolan. And I'm half awake, and I pick up the phone. And by this time, nobody had came to the house to grab anything. And Warren gets on the phone, and he's just like, hey, man, he was like, hey, have you talked to Nolan? Anything else? I was like, no, I haven't talked to him, man. He was with that girl last time I knew. And he was like, okay. He was like, man, we can't get a hold of him. We don't know where he's at. And I was like, man, it's Nolan. He's probably just out somewhere with that girl. Like, get a hold of the girl, you'll probably find Nolan. It's no big deal. And he was like, all right. He was like, but we're starting to freak out. We're getting on the phone with Coast Guard. I was like, okay. And at that time, he had already talked to his mom, Nolan's mom. And he was getting on the phone with the Coast Guard. And I'd called, I need to be specific about this. I did not call Warren's phone. I called another one of our buddies' phone, and it was on speakerphone. They were all together. I was talking on my other buddy's phone, talking to Warren. He was dialing Coast Guard because he hung up the phone and was like, hey, this is them, bye, and hung up the phone. And that was the last time I talked to him until the next morning when we all decided, and it was on speakerphone. They were all together. I was talking with getting on the phone with Coast Guard.
Wait, why did you have to make that clear? Wait, what's there? What's going on? Let's run that back. Let's listen again. Now what?
I haven't talked to him, man. He was with that girl last time I knew. And he was like, okay. He was like, man, we can't get a hold of him. We don't know where he's at. And I was like, man, it's Nolan. He's probably just out somewhere with that girl. Like, get a hold of the girl, you'll probably find Nolan. It's no big deal. And he was like, all right. He was like, but we're starting to freak out. We're getting on the phone with Coast Guard. I was like, okay. And at that time, he had already talked to his mom, Nolan's mom. And he was getting on the phone with the Coast Guard. And I'd called, I need to be specific about this. I did not call Warren's phone. I called another one of our buddies' phone.
Trace called a buddy's phone.
And it was on speakerphone.
And it was on speaker.
They were all together.
And they were all together.
I was talking on my other buddy's phone, talking to Warren. He was dialing Coast Guard because he hung up the phone and was like, hey, this is them, bye, and hung up the phone.
Okay. So he's saying that he called a buddy's phone and the buddy was on speaker and Warren was there with the buddy who Trace called, and Warren got a call and said, this is Coast Guard. Bye. I don't know why he had to make that clear, but that's something that should be noted. I want to know who the buddy was. I want to know who the buddy was.
And that was the last time I talked to him until the next morning when we all decided, well, when I woke up about 7 o'clock that morning, we had all decided that we were going to go out on the boat and go look for Nolan. Wyatt had already had his boat still in the water. We took that boat out. It was
What day are we talking?
That's Sunday morning.
Sunday morning on the 5th. The 5th?
So it was Saturday the 4th was the 4th of July. Mm-hmm. The 5th was Sunday. We were on the water from 9:45 to 11:50, 12 o'clock era, about lunchtime. Mm. While we were on the water, we talked to a rescue guy, and he told us to get off the water and said that they kind of had the island and the water under control. That's the professionals, man.
Yeah.
They told us to get on social media and find out any information we can. And by that time, we had already talked to a good amount of people out there, so it just made sense. So we went back in and we concluded our search and started the search off socials and started sharing everything we could and try to get a hold of anybody that could have talked to Nolan, that Nolan possibly would have reached out to. And that led into the night. It led all night long. I didn't sleep at all Sunday. Monday, I was up at 5 a.m. I was putting fuel in our boat at 6. I got told that we were taking out another boat to Chandelier at 7. So I put my boat back on the lift, and I went to McDonald's, and then I got the news after I left McDonald's that his body was found. So it was already a plan that we were going and searching and trying to do everything we possibly can. And that's all I wanted to do. Is I wasn't there to help him out in his last minutes, but now I feel like as a friend and as a as one of my guys, man, I do everything in my power to help now. And that's why I have reached out to the family. I have donated to the family, and I have giving them just your normal death gifts, I would say, as you pay your respects. And
Do you think Benjamin Crump being involved in this case made it better or worse?
100,000 times percent worse. Because why on the Tuesday after where has your civil rights been broken? Where has it been shown? You brought Benjamin Crump to stir up a community that's already tight-knit. Yeah, we might not be best friends with everybody, but I promise, if you're talking about Ocean Springs as a whole, Ocean Springs is going to have Ocean Springs back, 110%. We back each other. Everybody I've seen, we back each other. And for them to push this narrative and really push it, just shows me is like you have no idea who you're dealing with or who you're messing with. And I think he's taking the grieving parents and manipulating and turning this and making it sound all bad, because nothing's like that at all. No.
Have you gotten death threats?
I have.
Because I know that the other young men that I spoke to about this, especially the white young men, they're getting all kind of death threats. They're being accused of killing Nolan. Did you get the same backlash and threats that some of those guys have gotten?
Yes, I've gotten the death threats per se, but I've also gotten the threats along the lines of where it's like I've been cast out of the black community. I've been called white. I've been called a wetback. All these things. I've been sent photos of me and my grandmother, and they've been told that she's the devil. She's just looking for the time to kill you. You need to be careful and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, man, if y'all want to know the story, the only people that showed up for me in my whole life has been my white side of my family. So for y'all to sit there and drag their name and to drag me down, and I'm supposed to be one of y'all, and you're supposed to have my back, and we're supposed to be in this together, and it's really eye-opening.
Did it shock you that it turned this way? Meaning that, you see everything happen. Nolan was your friend. From all the young men I talked to, it seemed like Nolan was the life of the party. Everybody loved Nolan. He gets along with everybody. Everybody's cool. And everybody feels like
know who all he
like
talked
Nolan
to.
made them feel like everybody's his best friend, right? I mean,
Well,
everybody felt connected to Nolan. Were you shocked that it turned like this? I mean, where this community was tight-knit, Nolan's friend group was tight. He ends up losing his life in an unfortunate situation, which nobody knows exactly what happened. Did it shock you that it turned into some racial thing?
Yes, racial, I do agree. Now, it going famous or going viral, that part didn't shock me. Thinking about it and being honest, like, that's not a surprise because everybody did love Nolan. Especially around here, everybody loved Nolan. So for people to repost that, they know Nolan. I mean, they know he did not have one hateful thing in his heart. And racism, no. That was a shock. That was a complete shock from his mom.
It's only a shock to people that do not know history, especially in Mississippi. Optically, when that first initial picture of Nolan and the boys was on that boat and we heard the initial story, it took people back to a time in history where the Black Americans were lynched, being unalived. It took people back to the trauma of what it is to be black in America. So if you are not in tune with the history of America when it pertains to the black experience in America, then you would say things like this. Oh, I was shocked. I don't understand how this became a race thing. It didn't become anything. It is what it is, right? I'm not wrong to assume something went wrong based on the color of the skin of the said victim. People are going to draw conclusions when there aren't any facts. Right? People going to do that. This is the media. This is news. The only different thing about what's going on in 2026 is everybody got a motherfucking TikTok. Everybody got an Instagram. Everybody got a way to voice their opinion, right? So if it was back in the day, the news job was to start the narrative however they wanted to do. Wherever, if you don't, let me tell you something. It only becomes a narrative when you don't think for yourself. There are people that go along with other people's narrative. There are people that hijack other people's narrative. But if you don't think for yourself, you are going to get on the boat, no pun intended, with somebody else's narrative. I'm one that likes the facts, right? Notwithstanding the black lived experience in America. So as a black person in America, you have a dual brain. Let me cook. You have your conscious brain and then you got your black brain. Now your conscious brain is dealing with the facts, dealing with the process, dealing with the information, so you can conjure what you actually are listening to, so that you can digest. I said your conscious, not your subconscious, your conscious. There's a difference. So you have your conscious brain, and all the while that's working, it is simultaneously working with your black brain. Now your black brain has the Rolodex of history of your lived experience in America or in life or in the world. See, that Rolodex is important because history, and especially your history, has keys and information and spirits attached to it that could aid you in the process of programming your conscious. So it is important to tap into your black brain and have that aligned with your conscious brain to form what you actually believe to be true in that moment. Without that, without your conscious and your black brain as a black American, you say things like, I don't understand why this has become a race thing. Something that is does not become. You just pointed out to me, Mr. Trace, that you have an Asian, you have a white, you have a mixed, and you have a Mexican in your friend group. You see race. Race is here. Race has been here since the beginning of time. What are we talking about? This is not becoming. I am here. This is not an agenda. This is what is. People see race. We don't walk around like this, nigga. Oh, yeah, all my friends, I don't know what they are. I don't know what they are. You're looking and you're seeing, and there's a whole lot of races. And unfortunately, some races have a different lived experience than others. And that lived experience has not just begun, it is. And you're going to have to do your homework to know the history of your kind. Well, your black side.